Jerry Jones has been the owner, president, and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys since 1989. In that time, he has brought the Cowboys immense success and global popularity. With that said, a picture appeared a few years ago of a group of white boys blocking off 6 black students from entering the school. Jerry Jones was present in the image, standing in a crowd of eager onlookers. Now, let's get into the video. Firstly, let's talk about the image and what caused so much backlash. The image first appeared in front of the public many years ago, but Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys have been sweeping the image under the rug for just as long. The picture was taken 3 years after segregation was abolished for schools in America. A photograph from 1957 shows white students blocking the school's entrance and not allowing 6 black students to enter. Jerry Jones is pictured in the crowd, looking on as the racist proceedings take place. Jerry Jones spoke about his role in the controversial proceedings in 2010, noting that he was just a football player that was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. He stated that the people that were at the root of the issue weren't students at all. He then changed his statement to cater to the backlash he received recently, noting that people could learn how to do things the right way and improve themselves. The image is stated to be tied together with the fact that Jerry Jones has never hired a black coach for the Cowboys. The image by itself is 65 years old, and a lot has happened since then. The fact that it's been so long made people wonder why Jones hadn't spoken out about the image and his stance on it years back. Moving on, let's talk about why Jerry Jones and the NFL never spoke about the image. Over the years, there have been many reasons and opportunities for both Jerry Jones and the NFL to address the image and its connotations. 6 years ago, Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the national anthem to start a movement for the treatment of black people across America. This would have been the perfect time for Jones to make a statement about being one of the most revered people in the sport. Yet, his actions went in the complete opposite direction. Jones threatened to bench any player that disrespected the American flag and the national anthem. Social awareness caught up with him, though, as in 2017, he backtracked on his statement heavily and kneeled alongside coaches and players. Another great opportunity for him to talk about it was last year when the NFL confessed to having applied different cognitive baselines for players that weren't white. The NFL has long been faced with charges of racial discrimination by fans, players, and coaches alike. Even this year, former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores sued the NFL with a racial discrimination lawsuit. All Jerry Jones had to offer was a statement saying that the league should do better and still not addressing any of his own faults. Jones and the NFL have had multiple chances yet have failed to mention the image and what it implies. The NFL definitely knew about the image already, as it would be pretty ludicrous to think otherwise. Knowing that, an image of this sort is usually enough to get you fired completely, but such has not been the case for Jerry Jones. Next up, why has Jerry Jones never appointed a black coach? The fact remains that in his years as owner and president from 1989 to 2022, Jones has somehow never hired a black coach. This in itself is kinda insane, seeing how many talented black coaches have been available. Now, coupled with a picture like this, things are looking even worse for the billionaire. History proves that for all these years, the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL have been avoiding the topic of the image, knowing that it's a very bad look for them. It's even more concerning when you think of the NFL's Rooney Rule that states at least one non-white candidate has to be interviewed for the role of a coach. Jones held what many called a pity interview with Marvin Lewis just to satisfy the rule and appoint Mike McCarthy instead. It's been sad to see for the fans that someone that saw all the segregation battles growing up hasn't said a word about the plight of black players and staff in the NFL. He had a very awkward response to the social movement starting in 2017 and has never appointed a black head coach. Alongside that, he could have used his well-known silver tongue to show white fans why black players and fans were protesting. Instead, he decided to threaten his players. The man has left his mark on everything the sport has to offer, everything except the racial discrimination that players face. Coming up, Stephen A. Smith defended Jerry Jones and angered the black community. As many others were drawing lines between scandalous image and Jones's behavior throughout the years, Stephen A. Smith defended the billionaire. The controversial Stephen A. said that the image was 65 years old and that Jones shouldn't be judged for it. One could say it was as surprising as it was expected. Honestly, Stephen A. Smith has always been known for controversial hot takes and has always angered fans regardless of what sport he was talking about. Whether it is his usual basketball or even MMA, like when he picked a fight with Joe Rogan over comments about Donald Cerrone, Stephen A. always stirs drama. He did the same thing when he chose to defend Jerry Jones's image, but this time he's pissed off the entire black community in the process. People called him a sellout, among many more names that we really shouldn't say here. The journalist was attacked relentlessly over social media for trying to say that the image was just another example of cancel culture and that Jones shouldn't be judged off a 65-year-old photo. Well, Stephen A., it's a little hard not to judge someone based on a picture of them being involved with a hate crime. People on Twitter went off on Smith for trying to say that the picture meant nothing. Next up, since he was criticized for it, Stephen A. Smith has doubled down on his remarks. In response to the waves of criticism that came in his direction, Stephen A. decided to double down on his controversial take and attack his critics head-on. The First Take podcast host stated at the start of his podcast that one could be called only so many curses before they felt compelled to respond, especially when you're a black man. The controversial analyst went on to say that people on social media just want to attack anyone and everyone for not agreeing with them. He said that instead of attacking him, they should have a more intellectual conversation about things rather than just saying that he's a sellout. He even used a polarizing political figure, Candace Owens, as an example, saying that she goes throughout the same treatment, quote, "Let's educate ourselves," were the words chosen by Stephen A. as he asked people to be more understanding and to have better conversations about things they disagree with. Stephen A. went on to defend his position as a member of the black community that has been striving for its betterment. He claimed that it's very hard for him to sit and listen to people talking nonsense about him when they haven't done anything to build the community up, unlike him. Finally, Stephen A. Smith thinks that it isn't Jones's responsibility to fight racism. On his podcast, Stephen A. was asked by someone to explain what Jerry Jones had ever done to help the plight of black players and staff in the sport. Stephen A. responded asking, "Is that his responsibility?" The journalist claimed that Jerry Jones had nothing to do with racism and social issues within the sport, as he was simply the owner of a football team. He went on to say that his only responsibility should be the success of the team, the players, and anyone that works under him rather than the social issues. Stephen A. also defended Jones by implying that he's already done his part for the race issue by employing people from minorities at the Dallas Cowboys, noting again that it isn't his job to combat racism, his job is to take the team towards success. It should be noted though that Stephen A. Smith has always had a strong stance on the lack of black coaches in the NFL, and that with his recent statements, he's kinda shot himself in the foot. Defending Jones while saying that it isn't his obligation to solve issues of inequality has given anyone arguing against the inclusion of minorities an opportunity to say the same thing. So what do you think of this situation? Is Stephen A. Smith correct in saying that the picture is too old to be considered as bad as it is, or is the backlash for Jerry Jones fully justified? Honestly, it's kinda hard not to agree with the latter, given Jones's reluctance to offer minorities the aid of his charismatic persona. If there's anyone that could help white fans understand the movement better, it would have to be Jerry Jones. That's all for this video. Do you think the image was controversial? Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave a comment below to let us know what you think. While you're down there, subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.